Okay. Welcome back to Friday Night Book Review. I'm your host, Aiden Brockway, with my guest hosts, Thomas Washburn and Noah Cortez. Tonight, this show is all about reviewing books on a Friday night. So, today's book we have here. Copy that. The Stranger by Albert Camus. Okay, so we're gonna kick this show off with a brief summary of some of the main points that events that have happened in part one. So obviously we start off the book with the main character's mother dying, and honestly, my reaction to that is I feel bad for the guy. You know, his mother just died. Until I learned he doesn't even care. So, what are your thoughts on that, guys?
I think it's crazy that you could have someone who cares for you all your life and then just not care about them dying at all.
I don't think Meursault didn't even care about his mother, because when she died, he just smoked, he talked around, he didn't mourn for her.
Right, and so apparently his family had like this ritual where they keep vigil over the body, and like, you know, I thought it was very disrespectful how he fell asleep for pretty much the entire night. So, yeah. So that was Meursault. Okay, yeah.
And then another point is that when what's it called? The guy the host or whatever, asked to groundskeeper asked him to if he wanted to see his mother one last time before they buried him. He didn't care. He just said no.
How about you say that again?
What?
Another main point is whatever. It's an English assignment.
Okay. Another point was, so we're gonna go in chronological order. So another main point was that we now have a character named Raymond, which he asks Meursault to write his ex-girlfriend, his mistress, a letter, right? And it's all part of Raymond's devious plan to get her back, or to like get revenge on her.
Yeah, revenge.
So my main thought about that is it's obvious that Raymond's a shady character. Everybody in the town thinks so, and it's pretty evident that that is true by what Raymond is trying to ask of Meursault. And just to be like, okay, this woman's done nothing to me, I don't care, just I'm gonna write the letter and let her get beat up later by Raymond. It's just crazy. How about you, Noah?
Yeah, I would say the same things, like that when Raymond asks him to write the letter, he just really doesn't care. He just says, oh yeah, sure. It's kind of almost like I don't know how to put it, but he kind of just does whatever anybody tells him, and does it if it doesn't really have an effect on him.
Okay, I'm gonna move this conversation along to the last event before the end of part one, which is when Meursault shoots the Arabian brother of Raymond's mistress. So he shot him 5 times, and later got arrested in part 2. But I would like to hear your thoughts on that, about the Arab being shot.
The events leading up to this shot were kind of weird. They had some confrontations between each other. Meursault, some Arabian men, and some of Meursault's friends. I don't even think you could call them friends, just people that were there as well.
Yeah.
But right before the shot, the book did describe him having a weird feeling from the sun. That's the best I could recall it. So, and according to him, that is what spurred him to shoot the man. And just shooting him 5 times was extremely unnecessary.
Another thing that kind of confused me as well with that part is that when he's emotionless, right? He doesn't really care about anything or anyone. I don't understand why he would shoot just somebody that he probably didn't know just cause. Just like for no apparent reason. If he thought that
Good points. Yes. So the next part is we are gonna analyze Marceau on a deeper level. So I'd like to first start off the conversation by saying, so Marceau is an existentialist. For you that don't know, that means you don't really care what happens to you in life, and nothing really matters to you. So I think this mindset is a bit depressing in your everyday life, because that's basically saying nothing matters and the world is just gonna end or something, and it all ends the same way. So I like to hear your thoughts about that.
The mindset does have a valid view on the world, but that is hopefully not how you review the world to get the most out of the time you have, that we are very blessed to have. And just Marceau, initially I was just like, okay, maybe he's feeling like this because of this. Maybe with his mom's death, I was thinking initially, maybe he just wasn't close to his mother. But it did show him in the book later on that he was caring for his mother for as long as he could. So I don't see the relation to how he doesn't care at all about his mother, and it's very sad to see that a person could be that emotionally deprived.
But I'm also confused about what made him this way. Like, what caused this to be Marceau? Was he always like this as a kid? And just, how could you have a point of view of the world, thinking that everything's meaningless? Like when, who was it? Marie asked him to marry her. He just said that marriage didn't really have any value, and that could be one of the most important things in your life. And he just said sure, like it was nothing.
Yeah, perfectly said, Noah.
Yep. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at the two complementary characters, which are Raymond and Solomano. So we're going to start off with Raymond. So how do you guys feel about Raymond as a character?
Raymond is super shady. That's the first thing that comes to mind when I think about him. So he, according to him, he works in a warehouse, but among every other person in that neighborhood, in that area, they say he just does some things he's not supposed to. Let's put it at that. And then later on, he goes on to reveal that no, I shouldn't say it like that. Later on, he ends up beating up his mistress in front of a crowd. He does not care at all.
Like, his character is selfish. It doesn't really, if it's not his way, he just like dislikes anything that's not his way. It's weird to explain, but hopefully you guys get my point there.
So like it's his way or no way.
Yeah.
Alright, so now the next character is Solomano. So Solomano had a dog, but he lost it a bit back, or a bit almost towards the end of part 1. And he had a weird relationship with his dog. So he constantly beat up his dog. And beat up his dog. His dog was not looking good. It had mange. And then Solomano lost his dog, and now he's sad about that loss. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I do kind of feel sorry for him a bit, because the backstory is, he explained it earlier, that he got the dog mainly to ease his pain from losing his wife. But at the same time, I don't feel sorry for him, because how could you care for a creature that was loyal to him, never attacked him, and still beat him up? It just, like beat him, curse at him, just like, why? How could you do that to a creature that has never done anything to you?
That's definitely the big negative side with Solomano, is just the way he treats his dog. But I am thinking that the positive side about him is that he was a really good boss based off what I saw in the book. He gifted Marceau the opportunity to go to Paris, which he did refuse initially didn't want to go just because he's a existentialist and doesn't really care about what happens in his life. But other than that, he doesn't really treat his dog well, which could translate to other people.
Well said. Alright, so I want to hear your guys' thoughts on how the book is so far, part 1.
The book is okay. It's not the best a bit. I think a couple points are confusing on what it's supposed to be, or the theme I think is confusing as well. It's because it's what Mirza is supposed to be the main character. It's kind of confusing what role he plays in it. Can't really think of much. I'll try to add some later.
The book, I was a bit conflicted initially about what I thought of the book. It's a good book so far. It's not my favorite book by any means, but it's something that you should look into when you want to learn, if you're at all interested about existentialism. It provides maybe not even just that, just on other views that people have on the world. And what were you talking about? Oh, the theme.
Yeah.
The theme for me was also very confusing at the beginning. It just, other than the fact that it showed that Marisol didn't care about anything, pretty much, as long as it didn't affect him, that I didn't really see much else that it was trying to tell us. How about you, Aiden?
Yeah, so my personal opinion about the book is it's a bit dry for the first part. You know, not a lot of main things happen except for his mother's death, the era being shot, the letter. Other than those points, I don't think it's the best book, but I can definitely see why it's being taught in schools. So, which leads me to our next point. Should this book be taught in schools? I think it should be, because it definitely gives a good inside view at some of the philosophical aspects of existentialism and how it can play a role in our everyday society. And so, yeah.
And then I think for people who read the book, I think, well, so far, I think it gives people a different view on life to enjoy and experience their life with others they care about.
You guys said pretty much everything that needs to be said. It's a great way to realize that in your life, just to enjoy life, it is an amazing thing that we could do, and to not live in a world and live throughout our life the way that Meursault does. It's really a good way for us to view life in general.
Well said. Alright, that has been our Friday night book review. This was a book review on The Stranger by Albert Camus. So yeah, this was a pretty good book review, and that's it. See ya!